And we're live. There we go. Hello, 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 my friends. I'm Nicholas W. Fuller. Thanks for joining me. We're going to talk with Isaac Hill tonight. How you doing, Isaac?
I'm fantastic, Nick. Thanks for having me, man. It's
Yeah.
it's good to be back, as it
Right?
were.
Yeah. I was thinking earlier, I think the last time we talked was like early this year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I released my novella Dre's Demise and was hard at work on another book. And here we are with that other book.
And
Much
here
later
we
than
are.
expected, but here we are.
Well, I mean, it's not like you've been busy with other things at all this year, right?
Yeah. Just another child,
Just,
No
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, right. I don't know how that could possibly, impact your plans.
Well, and you just think like, I'll have free time. I'll have
Yeah.
lots of free time when they go
It'll
to
be
sleep.
fine. Yeah.
But then you have a new baby and you think, I forgot they don't sleep.
You know what? Speaking of, I actually.
I think you froze, Nick, either on my end or your end. Are you back?
Back. Yep. I was saying I need to go turn on my baby monitor so that if my daughter starts screaming, I can actually hear her. And then all of a sudden, I get a little internet blip. That was exciting.
It's like I'm rural, like I'm outside of the cities, as it were.
Mhm.
And so I always just assume it's me.
No, I think that was me this time. Yeah. My bad. Usually, my connection's pretty good, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Funny story about connections. So the first set of interviews that I did when I
Yeah.
was releasing my first book,
Yeah.
I had very bad internet. And so
Mm-hmm.
it was always lagging and like it was always hard to have these conversations. And
Mm-hmm.
so the day after I had dropped an interview,
Mm-hmm.
another internet provider showed up at my door. Like I drove in the driveway, he was at the door, like knocking, hey, I'm trying to make a door-to-door sale. And I was like, come on in. We're
Yeah.
switching tonight because I write books and I'm tired of talking about books and having it lag.
Yeah, that's funny. That's pretty good. We actually had really similar. There was a I think a door-to-door salesman for and I had a decent cable internet, but then they had a fiber internet, and I was like, tell me more, And
Yep.
yeah, so I switched over, and it's faster and cheaper. That's love it, right?
Yes. Yes. The only
Um,
improvement now is to go to the satellites and let
yeah,
the internet take over in
I'm
full.
not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not because isn't that those sorts of systems are sometimes a little bit impacted by weather, right?
Listen, we all watch Terminator.
Okay,
We know
good
what
point.
happens next. Like, don't tell me it's safe.
This is
This is
we're
how they get us.
we're gonna go on a tangent now, Isaac, but that's the fun of talking with me. Have you seen that there's actually a company now that's starting to sell a humanoid robot, and it's $20,000
What?
or yeah.
So
Oh,
I always thought Elon Musk was selling them. Like, wasn't that the shtick of like he sells androids or something? And it's like,
kinda. He's
is this the
he's
future now?
no, he's developing one, but he's not
Oh,
actually selling them yet. Elon is very, very good at going, look at this cool thing. And you can pre-order it for $1 and it's going to be available in 2 years. And then 5 years later, people are like, you remember that thing that you said was going to be available?
Nick. So I hate to admit this in
Yeah.
impermanence.
Did you?
Uh,
Mhm.
I pre-ordered the Cybertruck when it was
Yeah.
announced because it was 30 grand.
Right?
It
Yeah.
was 30 grand, Nick. I still get made fun of for that. Oh, where's
No.
your stuff? It's $120,000 to buy one in Canada.
Dude, what?
It's
Wow.
crazy money. It's like 100 to 120 or something wild.
I knew
Yeah.
they're not cheap, but like that is crazy. Yeah. So what you put like the $100
I
deposit
put the
down, right?
deposit down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's part of his magic is like, oh, it's like this tiny little deposit. It's not it's I feel
So
bad for the
let me
people
just
actually that like were interested in the Roadster 2.0,
yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm just gonna fact check myself.
Mhm.
Clutch. So this is Clutch, which is a car sales website.
Mhm.
It starts between 139 and 167. So
That
I
is
wasn't.
out fucking outrageous, dude.
It's
That,
just,
for like
anyways.
a hideous truck too.
Like I don't know if it's an appropriate thing to say, but like I got razzle dazzled. Like like
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean you and a bunch of other folks, man. And yet that motherfucker has like razzle dazzled his board into giving him like $1 trillion compensation package. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's not even real. Like we're
What?
talking about not even real things anymore. Like these values are
Oh,
larger than GDPs. So it's like this is
right.
fake money. These are just like digits on a computer. There's not enough
Yeah.
gold to support what you just said.
I mean, like I hear what you're saying, and all I'm saying is eat the rich, like, it's so outrageous. You're completely right. Yeah, more than a GDP. That's so bonkers. And like, yeah, I do not begrudge millionaires at all. And like, I have an uncle who's a millionaire, a multimillionaire, and he worked hard to get there. Like, legitimately, he would kind of invest a lot of his money in real estate, save his pennies, that sort of thing. But like, he made his money. You don't get to be a billionaire, like, one, on your own, two, without being very lucky. Yeah, go ahead. There was something there. So anyway, I'm gonna keep ranting about millionaires, I guess, while I wait for Isaac to come back, which is fine. I think it was baby stuff. Uh, but yeah, man. No, there's like some videos out there that like show the difference between like 100,000 and it's represented by like a grain of rice, and then like a million, so 10 grains of rice. Keeps going, but then you get to a billion, and it's an absurd number. Just goes on from there, and now we're talking about $1 trillion. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's like you just can't. It's like one, you can't fathom it, but two, it's
Yeah,
like it just gets into the make believe. Like I tell
yeah,
stories about
yeah.
stuff like this. Like
Right?
I'm a fantasy author, and this is fantasy.
Yeah, yeah. I got an. Oh my god. So I googled how much space does I did a billion grains of rice take up. I didn't even do a trillion. A billion grains of rice would take up 19 cubic meters.
That's a lot.
Right? Right? So then $1 trillion would be 100 times that. So we're definitely talking filling a house. That's
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
Who need
Anyways, Skynet, the internet, stories. That's where this all comes from.
right?
Let's
Right.
follow the tangent.
Yeah, no, but let's take this back to what we're supposed to talk about, Isaac. You queued it up well. You're like, I talk about fantasy, and like, and I'm just sticking with the stupid grains of rice and $1 trillion. But no, you do talk about fantasy. Let's talk about your fantasy books, Isaac.
Yes, sure.
So, congratulations, bud. You're a week out from another release, right?
I am a week out. I'm getting nervous. It's,
Mhm.
the final files are coming in. I'm trying to make sure everything's loaded properly, which is like, it is, it's down to the wire, which
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say is not my style, but it's definitely my style. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I want to not be that person, but I am a terrible procrastinator. Like with the new podcast, I'm like editing things the night before and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
I like the pressure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, sometimes I need the pressure. You gotta have a little pressure to move.
Oh, and listen, like, so with Kingdom of Lies,
The new
the
book.
backstory is that,
Yeah.
I wrote the book
Yep.
and it sat on the back burner. You know, I had another daughter, which was amazing and incredible, and you know, you can't replace the time that you spend with your kid and your child in the first couple of months. Like it's just the most amazing experience. And then I thought, well, I'm back into my hobbies, you know, and so I got a little bit back into the story, and you know, I got it off to the editor, and I got my edit notes, and that went in the desk, back in the drawer. And the edit notes were, you know, they were printed off, they were official, they were fantastic edit notes. And then it sat in the drawer for a couple more months, and I got back to it, and so here we are, after a couple months of solid editing, with a good final product. So very excited to be working through launching the second book in the Sunborn series. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. So this one's called Kingdom of Lies.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too many truth tellers, huh?
You know, I think like I'm in many ways a bit cynical about the way the world works, and that comes out in my fiction. You know, there's a lot of politics and a lot of lying, and that's kind of like one of the themes of this book that is different than the first book. Is it really it leans into the political realm of having a kingdom, right, and having other kind of shadow organizations that can influence directly and indirectly the people's lives in those kingdoms. So that was kind of like a fun thing to play with. That's different than kind of my initial swords and minor sorcery first book in fantasy.
There you go. Okay. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. I think there's definitely room for some fantasy politics, and I think there's plenty of things to be cynical about. So, not least of which are trillionaires. But, okay. So, again, Kingdom of Lies. It's going to be book 2 in the series. It's actually your third book, though, right?
Yes. Yes. So the first book was the Dragon Legion, and so the Dragon Legion was the story of Dre and the second Legion, his second Legion, and which was a legion of criminals that he joined. He also happened to be the Prince of Landor and wanted nothing to do with his kingdom, so he joined a legion of criminals. And so after I wrote that story, the question was, well, why is this man a criminal? What led him to that from being a prince? And so I wrote a novella to answer that question.
Nice.
And so, you know, and I've always kind of wanted to or aspired to write generational stories. So, you know, what happens to this family in the next generation was the question I wanted to answer. So, the Kingdom of Lies is an answer to that question, which is what happens when Dre has a son or a daughter? What happens then? You know, does that change him? How do they challenge him as they grow up? How do they challenge the king? How does that work if if a prince doesn't want the crown? And so the Kingdom of Lies is a set of answers to those different questions, which I'm very excited to tell.
That's pretty cool. I love that as a pitch. I feel like, you know, so many stories are kind of the main character is like coming of age, really, which I think it makes sense because we all can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're a little bit younger than that, you do kind of understand that that's going to be a part of your life soon. But like, you know, the rest of us that are older, we've been through that. Plus, like in kind of modern society, things are kind of you go along a path as you're going through school and whatnot, but then after school, then life can diverge a lot, which is sort of a little hard to write about in a way that everyone can relate to because everyone's life experience is different. But the rest of that leads up to that, you can be like, okay, there's some themes that we can relate to. So I get why a lot of stories, most stories maybe, but they have like
Yeah.
younger protagonists that are coming of age, you know? But as I get older, I'm like, man, I want to see more stories that deal with like parents, you know? I want to see stories that deal with like what is it like to you know have your own goals but have to be, you know, focused on raising your kids as well, you know? So I think the fact that you're doing some of that's pretty exciting.
I loved it. You know, like so at first when I wrote it, you know, the technical challenge was how do you have two stories that are side by each that
Hmm.
compete with each other in many
Hmm.
ways, right?
Hmm.
Of a son and a father. And so, how do you tell the two different sides of this story in a compelling and interesting way? And what it really turned into is kind of like a long argument. And so it was very fun to write about the long argument because a father will think, I know best, I should teach my son how to do this.
Right.
But when you refuse the crown and it goes to your son, the power dynamic of your son being the king and you being the general makes for a very interesting set of conversations.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. They hmm. What's the son's name? That's not giving away too much, is it?
No, not at all. Heron. So I can actually read you the pitch.
Okay.
I'll read
Yes.
the
Yes.
pitch. We'll go right into it. So I can't do justice the way you did to the Dragon Legion. That was epic. So bear with me. Heron Sunborn, the Ink King of Landor, must wrestle with his father to protect the kingdom and the crown. Dre, sworn sword of the nation and general of the Dragon Legion, will protect his bloodline at any cost. Years of war have ended in the Eastern Kingdoms. With the signing of the Compact, overseen by the Council, an uneasy peace holds. Death visits the Sunborns as Landor's enemies strike at its very heart. As Heron and Dre struggle against each other, will revenge or peace keep their nation alive? Far to the west, the Horde is coming.
I'm sorry, what? The Horde is coming. What?
Yeah, the
What?
Horde. Yeah. So it's both a character and kind of a terrifying threat, right? The kingdom itself, the nations are split by a massive mountain range, and there's a pass, the natural low point between the mountains, and the Skellen Pass is set up to protect the people in the east from the
Horde.
Horsemen in the west.
The Earthsmen. Okay.
Horsemen.
Wow. Horsemen.
The Horde, right? They're kind of like some homage to the Huns.
Oh, okay. Okay. You know what it's making me think of too? Like a little. Well, at first I was thinking of what is it, White Walkers or whatever from Game of Thrones, but then because that's the large looming threat. But now Horsemen, I'm thinking a little Dothraki, but which I think were also inspired by the Huns, right?
Yeah,
Or
I mean
it's
you can take like a small select group of people from history and go, here they are in every story after.
yeah, fair. No, I'm not saying I think agreed. They're in lots of stories. It's a great inspiration. Yeah, that's cool. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah,
and you said, what did you call him? The Ink King?
Yeah, the Ink King. So one of Heron's biggest problems in his kingdom is that he's a paper pusher, right? And all of his soldiers and all of his people, they know it, right? They know the real power is with the guy with the sword, which is his father. So the general, as he's lovingly referred to as, is in charge, right? And so one of his biggest problems throughout the book is, how does he gain the respect of his people? How does he gain the respect of his soldiers when his father is the most powerful warmonger in the Eastern Kingdoms?
Okay. Nice. Nice.
It's a tough beat.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. That's pretty fun.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun telling it. It was fun to write. I've been writing in this series for many years. So it was really the first real book that I wrote was 2 generations from now. So I'm not there yet, but I wrote the first book that I wrote, I'm repeating myself, but it was about a young boy who gets woken in the middle of the night by his father, who's the king, and says, there's a coup. We have to get out of here. And so in the middle of the night, they run into the mountains and try to escape these people trying to kill them to take their kingdom.
Wow.
And his father tells him, we have to find the general. The general is his grandfather, who is Dre. And so I wrote that story about them, taking their kingdom back with this general who was, well, I'm going to give a little bit away here, who was imprisoned on an island
Oh wow.
for crimes
Okay.
against the nation.
Oh man.
And I thought, I really like this general. He's like a very interesting. He's much more interesting as a character to write about. So I wrote the Dragon Legion. That was the second book that I wrote in the series. And so I've actually been writing in this series. I now have one, two, three, four full books and a novella written.
Oh wow. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So this is my second one being released. The other two will never see the light of day. They will have to be rewritten. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Okay. They
there's
have
a
to
lot
be
of back
rewritten.
matter going on.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. That's fair. But that's the plan, though, right? Rewrite them and put them out eventually. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's really cool, man.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I just I want to see it through. It's kind of an
Yeah.
exciting thing.
Yeah. So these are in this book, the father and the son are the two POV characters. Are there any other POV characters or?
No,
All right.
no. Well, I played with some other POV characters, but I just, I wanted to kind of like it's. I think it's my first full book using multiple points of view,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to really just sharpen those 2 points of view. Wanted
Yeah,
to.
no, that makes
It
sense.
just gets technically more challenging. Like you hear Cahill talk about like, well, I have 17 points of view and I keep it on this sheet, and I'm like this. So I'm just trying to get good enough to write 2 right now. And so yeah, I kept it between the father and the son.
That's fair.
There's a third that kind of pokes its way in there, but it's only a couple of chapters, so I don't count
Okay.
that.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. Well, this
yeah.
sounds fun, and sounds like there's more fights a little bit. I'm sure in addition to the politics, there's some sword swinging, right?
It's military fantasy, so
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of military in there. I think I surprised myself. That's what I write, so that's okay. I'm enjoying it so far, and when I think through the series, like I'll finish a trilogy, and then I'll probably write a couple more after that. But yeah,
Nice.
it's kind of like the fun of it is like just finding their story, and their story is becoming more than the military
Mm-hmm.
fantasy part,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's more than leading armies, and that's kind of what I've actually enjoyed leaning into as an author is writing about the other stuff, the interpersonal, the familial relationships, the politics. It's all been pretty fun. So I think I'm getting better, and it's more fun to tell a deeper story.
Sure. Nice. Yeah. That's fun. Yeah, I think, those are the things that really uh stick with people is the characters and the conflicts and the dynamic between the characters. I can only imagine the arguments, yeah, that the Ink General are having with each other. I feel like sometimes my daughter thinks she's an Ink King, A little 4-year-old thinks she runs the show. It's like, no, no, no.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. He's the king, or the general has a daughter as well,
Yeah, okay.
and she's very strong, passionate woman, and definitely modeled after the women in my life and my family. You just think, oh yeah, I know what they would say.
Yeah, they wouldn't hold back. Yeah,
They
yeah,
would let loose. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's fun.
yeah,
Um, Interesting. I like that. That's interesting to add. How many who all is in the family between with General and Ink King? How many other folks are we having to having to deal with? I mean, it sounds like they're the two main players, the main
yeah.
decision makers. But I'm sure this daughter that doesn't hold back, she's got some little bit of influence. I have to
Oh,
imagine.
she's got some tenacity. So he has 2 sons and
Uh-huh.
1 daughter and a wife. I will spoil some things. Not
Okay.
everyone makes it. you know,
Oh,
as is the way of the world, right?
nobody is
And so
safe. Yeah.
so when I first wrote the let's say the first third of the book, I couldn't help myself. I sent it to my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and she texted me back something like explicit of what?
Mm-hmm.
I just needed it to open with a bang, you know, like so if you read the prologue to this book, you'll have a full understanding of the tone of the novel.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. All right. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
But yeah,
But
it's kind of fun to play with the different family members. So, you've got a daughter and a son and a father and
mhm.
um another son and a mother, and you know it became more about what strengths do these characters bring to the table, and then how do they influence the interactions of the others, right? The main points of view. Trying to create some depth out of their lives, right? um, it was interesting. All of the beta readers and my editor were very, very um, heavily favoring Anastasia, which is Trey's daughter.
Mhm.
They thought she was fantastic. They wanted more of her. One
Mhm.
one person even suggested that I put her in as a full POV, and I just thought, well, I have to write another third of a book to do
Mhm.
to do that. But yeah, she's a really fun character to have in there.
Yeah, I hear you. I remember the very first book I wrote many, many years ago. I asked my mother for feedback, and she was saying that the character she kind of thought was most interesting was the secondary character, and then she just wanted like that character to have way more of the story, and like for that character to have some romantic interest that I wasn't doing at all, you know? And I was like, I mean, that's an interesting idea. I think it could work, but like none of that's on my page, you know? That's your fanfic, you
I
know?
I
Yeah.
think you want to read a romance. I think
Yeah.
that's what you want to read.
Yeah. Right. I should have just bugged my mom to like go write that fanfic for me, you know. But I'll write my book. You write, you know. But
I hear you, Mom,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is about a spaceship with a bad engine. I don't know where this is coming from, Mom. The mechanic cannot be in love with the captain.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah. Let's bring it down, mom. Yeah, yeah. Let's focus on what's at hand here. You know, we're trying to fix a flux capacitor. You know.
Darth Vader does not have a love interest, Mom. Sorry.
actually, actually, Darth. I mean,
Good point. Good point.
yeah, right.
Depends on the era.
Yeah, yeah. That's fair. That's fair. That's funny. That like we're gonna stick on this for a minute, Isaac, because I feel like I mean the whole arc of the prequel trilogy of like Anakin growing up and kind of falling in love with Padme, and then losing Padme, and that's what like kind of sends him over the edge and drives him.
That and cutting his mentor, his mentor cutting his legs off. That was a
Yes, yes, but
lot of
yeah, I mean,
murder.
huh?
A lot of murder.
A lot of yeah, I mean, yes, yes.
Anyways, please continue.
No, no, no. But like, I mean, yeah, like the mentor sort of pseudo betrayal. Although I would argue that Anakin betrayed the mentor more than the mentor betrayed Anakin. You know, yeah, yeah. Uh, and the loss of yeah his love interest, and that turns him. That whole thing, like conceptually, is so cool. I think some of the execution in Return or in Rise of the Sith, right? Yeah, that's the name of the thing. Yeah, it wasn't quite there, you know, and obviously there's issues with like some of the early dialogue, like I hate sand, which is like a meme, right? But ah, it
If
could have been
you
so
lived on the beach, you would hate sand too, Nick. Just saying.
if you grew up in a desert, yeah, but maybe I'd say it a little bit more poetically, you know, instead of just like an emo kid or something.
Yes.
Yeah. It's coarse and rough, it gets everywhere. Meh.
It's so interesting too. Like, so, you know, uh, does this ever happen to you? You sit down with your partner and you watch a movie and you say, okay, so here's what's happening. Here's
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen next based
Mm-hmm.
on this development of the story, you start to think of stories in that way because you just can't help it because you deconstruct it. And you're like, oh, I could do something with that. That's, oh, yeah, I see what they're doing there.
Yeah.
Um,
So I
yeah.
do that the most, like I do that the most with audiobooks, and I do that, and like I'll listen doing something, and then inevitably I'll have to stop and do something else. So when I stop and do something else, I'll then think about like what I listened to and like what's good. But usually in the moment, like I'm kind of too enthralled in the moment if it's something that's really got me to like kind of dissect it in the moment, you know?
Mhm.
But afterwards, yes, I will be like, okay. There's been a couple times my cousin, who's a voracious audiobook listener, I'll text him and be like, okay, so I see what the writer's doing here. Maybe not, I don't feel like it's the best execution of what they try to do, but you know, whatever.
There's a lot of
My-
exposition here.
huh? A
There's a
lot of
lot of exposition
right.
here. Like, what are
Yeah,
we
yeah,
doing?
yeah. My cousin's like, "You're ruthless, dude." I'm like, "No, I'm not trying to be, you know." But I'm just trying to like pick it apart and see what I think is working and what's not, you know, and
Yeah.
like make sure I have an understanding of this thing that we're trying to do, you know.
Yeah, and it's like Brandon Sanderson changed the game. Like,
Mm,
so, I was tinkering with writing for many years.
mhm,
In college, I was like in high school into college, I was writing a story. Um, Gosh, who knows if I've even got 100 pages in. And then I was scribbling out stories like on scrap paper. And then I was pretending to start, just, and all along that time in my teens and 20s, you'd read books. You'd occasionally catch someone talking about writing, like writing excuses or something, but you'd read books. You'd read On Writing by Stephen King. You'd read, um, you know, uh, editing. You'd read The Creative Way, whatever books you get your hands on. But
mhm.
Brandon Sanderson's lectures and the volume of lectures, especially in the 2020s, absolutely blew the roof off of understanding structure and characters and the different pieces that go together to write a book.
Yeah, fair. You good?
Yeah, I just got a cat like slowly clawing and just like
Yeah.
I don't know what it's doing.
That's funny though, because I had like a very similar experience where, like, as I started kind of wanting to get more serious about writing, I fell into the Sanderson lectures, and then I ended up starting an in-person writing group. And what I
Yep.
said in my local subreddit was, "Hey, I've been checking out these lectures, and these are neat, and I'd love to get together with some people and like discuss them." And, like, you know,
Cool.
right?
That's really
It, yeah, that was the initial concept. It very quickly turned into a critique group, which was
cool. Mhm.
perhaps even more valuable, you know. But
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'll be honest with you, I was not good at writing. I was bad at it because I was a skill
nobody's
that I had not practiced, right?
exactly. Yeah.
And I got into a writing group, and it changed my life. I went with for years, I sat with a group of other people like me that wanted to write well
Hmm.
and listen to their feedback and incorporate it and try it again and try it again and try it. I still irregularly meet with my writing group friends.
Nice.
Every Wednesday or Thursday, every couple of weeks, we try to sit down for an hour or two and just talk through this stuff. They helped me put my back matter together for this book. It was
Nice.
like iteration, edits, and what is odd about that is Stephen King's On Writing, which is one of probably the best-selling writing books in the world.
And it's great. I like it a lot. But
He talks about don't do writing groups, don't do this, don't do that. It's like
yeah,
the conviction with which he gives that advice. You're like, writing group changed my writing life
right.
for the better.
Well, I think like one of the things that I like about Stephen King's on writing is he does say like early on, here's the things that like work for me, you
Yeah,
know, which
very true.
right. Um, but I have heard that from another person. Critique groups can be I don't want to say destructive, but I think that you do run the risk of like it getting to the point where it's counterproductive.
Definitely. I've
Right,
had that experience too. Yeah.
right. And I think like I mean, if you hand someone a story and you ask the person what would you change, that person is going to have something to change. You know what I mean? I
That's
think
their
of
job. That's
well, yeah,
inherent.
That's what you're literally asking them. Like, what?
Mhm.
Yeah, right. And then even like we were sort of talking about Star Wars prequel, which actually I think the prequels are by and large pretty fun. But like there are things that would change. You know what I mean? So, um,
Jar Jar.
good example. Good example.
Misa Fink.
Yeah. No, he should have more screen time. Right. Right.
The Mer people. More
Just
screen
kidding.
time, right? In Atlantis.
Yeah. 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 No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you hand someone something that you ask them what would they change. They're gonna have something that they're gonna change. So I think the best editors too are the ones that um, can look at a piece and be like, and understand what the author is trying to do, understand like
Mm,
who the audience is, and understand when it's like it's already doing what it needs to do and it doesn't need to change. You know,
yeah.
which I think is a whole different skill set than you're going to get from most critique groups. You know.
And so I've worked with 3 editors. One was majority proofing, but did use them for some other work as well, some copy work. The editor maketh the book. Like they elevate or they improve in ways that are incalculable if you use them properly. So it's like your choices are, do you want someone to give you the grammar? Do you want someone to help you with the structure of the sentences, or do you want someone to help you with the structure of the book? And so they can really change things. But you're right, a critique group, I've had it go both ways. We gave this one gentleman advice on a chapter, and he brought it back the next week, and we gave him some more advice, and he said, no, you all need to stop. He said, this is the opposite of what you told me last week. And so it was like a real reflection, like, are we just telling him things to tell him things, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the editor's job, is to garden, is to weed it out and strengthen what's there as a core story, right? And I'll tell you, like, I'm working with Ed Crocker, who's just a magician with words, and his development edits made this story what it is. Like his suggestions on what to do to really make things shine and pop and be clear. In going through this book again, I just thought, wow, this would not be what it is without him. Yeah, like even with your betas are great, and you can trust your betas, but a good editor works on works underneath the hood on the chassis.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard so many good things about Ed. Because initially, though, wasn't he only doing like kind of proofreading to begin with? And
I don't know what his journey was, but he's well booked, and you got to find your time with him. But he's very accommodating, very very good to work with, and what I liked about Ed is it all enhanced the voice, right? He wasn't trying to change things like fundamentals. He was trying to enhance what I'd already done.
Yeah, that's top tier. Because again, I feel like novice editing is improving it, but making it more yours. It's easier when you're providing feedback to try to even inadvertently like change the voice. But if he's doing a good job of helping you work with your voice, that's top tier right there. Yep. That's cool.
Yeah. How did you find editing your novella? Congratulations. Obviously, we haven't talked in person since then. Pretty awesome to see. I'm loving the content and the way that you're releasing it. Like it's just really cool to see that come to life. How did you find that editing process?
Thank you. It was good. It was laborious. It took a lot more time editing than initial drafting, which makes sense. I went through like a few different rounds. I didn't yeah, I had like lots of feedback from lots of different folks. And it like it definitely made it stronger. And some of the feedback too was, I think, sort of similar to some of the things you heard, where it was, I like what's going on here and I want more. And I
Right.
ended up adding like entire chapters,
Whoa. Okay,
right?
so serious edits.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I did think like it made it a lot stronger because there were like certain things that were kind of like the whole story. It's a prelude novella, right? And
Yeah.
so it's trying to like set up things that are happening in the planned full length book trilogy. Um, and I was gonna kind of, I mean, it was obviously it's a novella, so I wasn't gonna spend too much time on lots of things. But there was like a significant like time jump and like a bunch of stuff
Mm,
happening. And then it was like, man, I really want to see this. You're talking about it happening, but I really want to see it. And I was like, you're right. You're right. I really should. So I went in and I wrote it. And that, yeah, well, the way I wrote the novella too has a bunch of different POVs actually, um, which was definitely by design. I wanted to originally I kind of conceived it as like almost like a different POV each chapter. Um, which I kind of pulled back from and probably benefited from. But there's still like a number of different POVs. But the specific POV where I did add in, and it really was kind of diving into this event that people had want to see more of. That one was called out in my best review so far, and the character Kelly Aegis, that's like kind of the POV character for there. Uh, Ganesh, aka Pippin from Fanfight Addict, he was like, "Man, the arc that you gave Kelly Aegis in that chapter was so great. I was kind of frustrated with him in that chapter and like in previous chapters where he does appear, but by the end of it, I sort of just felt sad for him. And for you to be able to like give such an arc for a character in such a short amount of words, like that was Fonda Lee level character work." And I was like, "Oh," right,
wow.
right, yeah,
Wow.
I'll take
Big.
that, dude. I'll
That's
take that,
big.
right? Yeah,
That's really awesome, Nick. Yeah.
yeah. And that again, yeah, that chapter wasn't even there in the very first draft of it. So
It's funny what you give your story to somebody, and I had that experience with beta reading for this
mhm.
story. It was like stuff that I went, who cares about that? Like, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
skim over it. And someone will go, no, that's what I want
that's
more of.
yeah,
And you pull on that thread, right? It's just
yeah,
really fascinating what a
yeah,
reader takes from a story.
yeah. And I yeah, totally agree, and totally, yeah, the things that they kind of latch onto and the sort of the interpretations that they assign, there's like a little bit of political intrigue in my book, and like
Mm,
y- and I've had some people look at it and be like, "Oh, this is such uh, this speaks to current times, right?" And then
mhm,
I was like, "Well, cool. It's neat that you got that out of it, and I'm not saying don't, but like at the time that I wrote the initial draft, like times were a little bit different politically. Like there was not the previous election at the time I wrote the initial draft,
right.
but hey, great. I'm glad that this resonates for you in the current time, that
Yeah.
so that's kind of fun though. I love the way that readers kind of impart their own meaning on the story.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And you go all the way back to English classes in school. And I remember a teacher explaining that once. Well, and you'd say, okay, well, what did the author mean? Professor Jordan?
Right, right.
And Professor Jordan would say, well, it's really not up to the author once they write it. And you just think that's such trite commentary. But then you write a book and you think, oh,
Yeah, right,
oh,
right, right.
that's what they mean. You're like, we're out here trying to sell books and have our stories be read by others, and
Yep,
I think more importantly, we just want people to enjoy our stories, and that's why we write them.
right,
But it's their story now, and that's
right,
such a weird change. You're like
right.
you're reading comments and reviews, and you're like, huh,
Yeah,
didn't expect that.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. Completely agree. But it's kind of a cool part of the process too.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah. So Has there been any reviews yet for Kingdom of Lies? I know it's still like a week out from release, but
Yeah, so I've got a little bit of early feedback, but I don't have any of the reviews locked in yet because you can't buy it from Amazon yet, and so
right.
the e-arcs are out. Uh,
Okay.
so that's out to the group that signed up and a couple others that asked later on. But
Nice, nice, nice.
I'm still waiting for those to go live. Pretty excited to start hearing back. I only sent it out maybe a week ago, so
Yeah.
they're on the lists.
Have you checked Goodreads? I assume it's on Goodreads already.
Ooh. Yeah, it is on Goodreads. Let me see here. I should have Goodreads up and live.
Right? What the heck? Apparently, there's a series called Kingdom of Lies by Stasia Stark
Oh,
that is wildly popular. So
that's definitely me then. You know,
yeah,
well,
right. 94,000 ratings on this book.
Wow.
Anyway. Oh, yep. Nothing yet on Kingdom of Lies on Goodreads. It's gonna come.
It'll come.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. It's just a matter of time. And it's the funny thing, you know, like there's always a little bit of resistance, but you know, I just not a lot of lead time running up to it. So, you know, I'm just plugging away. I'm just enjoying getting it out there and
Yeah.
I'll start to nudge it along as I go. I just I had this one cooked and I had it ready to go and I thought, why wait for the perfect time? Let's get it out into the world and I'll start pushing it then.
Well, and what's the perfect time? You know, there is no perfect time. Actually, I had a friend before I had children. I was, thinking about having children, as one does before you have children. But my good friend, yeah, right? Hopefully,
yeah.
My good friend already had a couple kids, and they were little, they were getting preteen. You know what I mean? So he'd started having kids a while ago. Anyway, but I was like, yeah, I don't know. And he's like, you're never ever going to check every single box and be like, now's the time for kids. But I think yes, this story is to say I think it's very similar for books. I really don't think that you could get to where you've checked every single box and you're like, okay, perfect, now's the time for the release of this book. Like the market conditions are perfect, like the it's not, you're not going to be able to even control everything.
There's work that you can put into it. You and I have talked about this. There are things that you can do. Yeah. You can run advertisements, you can enter competitions, you can do all of those things that push a book forward.
Right.
But there's no perfect time for that either. It's whenever it works. And so, part of the reality of being an indie author is that, I've got a family, I've got a day job, and I do this for fun because I love doing it and I want to tell the stories. And so I'm okay with that too. I just want the product to be a good product when a reader gets it in their hands and has a chance to take a look at it or take a chance on it.
Yeah. So you've queued us up for an interesting little discussion here, Isaac, because just before we went live, we're discussing how, a lot of our friends want to go full-time, right? They want to be full-time writers. And there are some of us where that's not the goal. I would love to be a full-time writer, but I know Zach Argyle that wrote Threadlight. He's like, no, I'd rather not. He said, I was discussing that with him and his wife in an interview like quite a while ago, and she was like, oh, come on, like if you I think I said like if he got somehow on Oprah's book club, would he go full-time? And she was like, if you were on the book club or whatever, you wouldn't be full-time, and he relented. But anyway,
oh, did he give in and say, yeah, I would?
Yeah. But it's not really like his goal it's not to be full-time, which I think it makes sense though. Like I do get it, but apparently you're in the same boat, right? You're not necessarily out trying to be full-time.
No, it's like, so it's like the $1 million question, right? For an indie author, well, you want to get, what is the goal? What do you want to make it into the big leagues and, start raking in the money and, hit a prime spot and then maybe go trad or a combo. Hey, listen, I'm not saying I don't want to be a successful author. I'm just saying the goal in my life right now is just tell stories and have other people enjoy them. Um, I wouldn't turn down a fantastic author deal, whether that be a traditional deal or, Nicholas Fuller's publishing house offer me a contract for lots of monies. That'd be fantastic. But, you kind of just have to like sit back after you write a book and say, what am I going to do with this book? What do I want it to achieve? What do I want to accomplish? And I'm writing this series as much for the reader as I am for myself.
Yeah.
I can't help myself. I want to tell this story. It's been living in my head rent free for 6 years.
Yeah.
It's time for it to all come out onto the paper, and that's what I'm working on, slowly but surely. Hopefully next year I'll finish kind of the first trilogy in the series, and I might try something else, or I might just keep cooking and write a couple more because I've got them in me.
Yeah. I think what's nice about that is like it takes the pressure off, right? And it lets you just write the story you want to write without worrying about whether there's good market fit or anything. You're just like, no, I'm gonna work when I have the time to work. And you apparently did put your like edits in the drawer for a little while and very
Months.
very appropriately spent time with new baby because that's very important, but then you're like, hey, it's time to go dust it off again, and then you get to continue working on the story that you want to tell without anyone. That's kind of
and success to me is like this book comes out next Tuesday, the 18th. That is success. Like it'll sell a couple copies. I'll have a hoot getting it out there and hearing from people about how they feel about it that read the first, probably. And that's it. Like that's success for me, and I'm very happy with that.
That's nice. That's pure,
Yeah.
All right. I'm checking out though. I dig that, and I think that's great. I will say, having put out my novella, the thing that makes me feel the best is just like when I have like an absolutely like glowing review, and like it really resonates with a reader, and I'm like, yes! Like that's the thing that feels the best. So, I think I'm gonna go look at your 5-star reviews for the Dragon Legion.
Oh, Nick.
Let's go take a look at some of those for a second. You got a couple. You got some. You got what 5-star from Karina Inkdrinker?
That was a surprise and a very pleasant 5-star to receive from a big reader.
Fantastic character-driven story with betrayal, family drama, and a war that is driving a cliff between nations. The world is a fantastic and dark place, where Isaac masterfully blend character-driven and world-building together to make you remember his work for as long as you live. Nice. And Rob, is that our friend Rob?
Yeah.
All right. With the Dragon Legion, Isaac Hill weaves together a high-octane military fantasy with political intrigue that keeps the reader hooked the entire way through. That's a good one. But yeah, I feel like Karina, like when you get a review from an unexpected one, that's a good one. You're like, right, just absolutely makes your day.
Yeah. And it's like that. It goes back to like trust the process. The process and the product is in your control, but the reaction isn't. But it is really nice to have a positive reaction.
Yeah.
It keeps the fingers warm as you type.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally. Well, I mean, yeah, we're hoping to kind of connect with a reader. We're hoping that someone's gonna enjoy these stories. We're hoping that it's going to be meaningful for some folks out there, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of if we did, we're entirely only doing it for ourselves, we wouldn't bother with the process of self-publishing, right?
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. We're coming up on the hour, so I think like this is a good time. We're again, we're about a week out, but it looks like you can already pre-order this bad boy on Amazon, right?
Yes, the ebook is up for pre-order now. My technical prowess would not allow me to get the paperback up for pre-order, so ebook only at this time. But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
if you'd like to pre-order, it's Amazon.com, Isaac Hill, or IsaacHillAuthor.com,
There you go.
or Isaac Hill Author at Instagram. Pretty well everything is Isaac Hill
Isaac Hill
Author.
author. Yeah. Go find and follow Isaac Hill and get ready to get a new book.
Yeah,
Uh
we appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, Nick.
yeah. My pleasure, man. My pleasure. It was a blast. It's good to connect with you, bud. Good to talk with you again. Congratulations on the new kiddo, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the novella.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. And anyone watching, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
We're gonna call it a night. We'll see you. And there we go.